Hello everybody. So today we will go through the creation of the card inside Home Assistant. So until now you have seen, let's say, a few aspects about how to install the card. You have seen how you create your model in Floor3d. And today, for the first time, we will create the card with your 3D model inside Home Assistant. Let's go through first the preparation aspects. So be sure of one thing. Let's say it's important that you install and configure an add-on that will give you the possibility to say access the folder of your Home Assistant installation where you have all the configuration files. This is important because you upload your model inside these folders. You do this by installing the Samba Share add-on. And then you, once you have configured, I will not go into the configuration of the Samba Share, but once you have configured it, you go to your Windows Explorer and you do a map network drive in order to access, let's say, your configuration of Home Assistant. In my case, it is mapped to the network drive Z. Okay, so very good. Now that you have done this, you are ready to go back to your Sweet Home 3D, and as I explained you, you will be able to export to object format your model. Okay, so the export to object is, as you remember, is done inside a specific folder that you are to say specifying. And let's say I will take my configuration and I choose, let's say, the folder inside the Home Assistant configuration where I will store the object format. Okay, so once I've done this, I save. It will take a little bit of time. Then I go into the folder where I have stored the information, and I see that Sweet Home 3D has created a big amount of file. So be careful that you have really to create a specific folder to store these files. Otherwise, if you put this at the root folder of your config or your www folder, you will have a huge amount of files, etc. So create a folder to say store your full model inside, and this folder needs to be dedicated. So once you have done this operation, your 3D model has been exported inside the config folder that is called YouTube. Then this is the moment where you are ready to start your configuration inside Home Assistant. So we will do first a configuration based on a, let's say, card not in panel mode, let's say, so in column mode, and you do this by doing edit, add card, and if you have correctly installed your Floor3d card previously with my first tutorial, you will have this custom Floor3d card appearing here in this space. You click on it and suddenly you have, let's say, the card configuration that is open. So the card configuration is quite now is quite complex. Let's say I have added a lot of functionality. So how to say? Let's start from the beginning. Let's say the first operation that you need to do, of course, is to how to say, load your model. Okay. And let's say, of course, you can give a name to your model. Let's do my first home digital twin. Okay, the path. Okay, the path is something that is a little bit special in Home Assistant. You have seen here that I have stored the model inside the www folder in the config of Home Assistant and inside the YouTube folder. Okay, so how do you refer to this? Let's say you just take your 3D object file name, okay, and then you go back here and you put the following: local. Local is pointing and referring to the www root folder. Then you have YouTube, as you have seen. Okay, you can omit the trailing trailing slash, but let's say you can even put it. Then you put here the name of your object file. See, you see that I've taken it from the folder, and you put here the name of the MTL file. So these are the two fundamental files that are created by Sweet Home 3D when exporting to the object format, and you need to put them both here, otherwise your model will not load. Okay, so now that we are all set, we click on save, and we wait for the model to appear. So you see here that, let's say, now your model is loaded into the card. Okay. So of course, for the moment there is nothing. Your model is a little bit small, etc. So you can't do much with it. So you have your model here in the card. Let's say the model can be, say, rotated and dragged around. Let's say you rotate by clicking the left mouse click, and you drag by clicking the right mouse click and moving the mouse around. Okay, and then you can zoom in and zoom out with your mouse wheel. Okay, so now let's do some modification to the appearance of the card. First of all, let's make the card a little bit bigger. I don't know, let's say 600 pixel. And there, you see there are other parameters, but let's say for the moment we will focus on the simple one. And we save, and you see that the card now is bigger, and the background is black. Okay, So when we have found, let's say, the right size and the right, I would say, positioning of the model in the canvas, it is important to save the position and rotation and zoom of your camera. So how do you do that? Let's say, it is a little bit more complex here, but let's say I will show you step by step. So while you are in edit mode, you just click on a empty space inside your model. So for example, here on the top left corner, you will see that there is a few jabber things that are appearing here. Let's say positions, coordinate, etc. You just copy this information. Okay, so let's put like this. Okay, and then you enter again in your model that you see here, and you click on the show code editor. Unfortunately, for the moment I didn't find a way to use the visual editor in order to do this operation. So you put your cursor at the bottom and you paste the information that you have copied before, so the coordinates, etc. Now you save, and your model is how to say, appearing with the new position that you have saved. You can see that there is a little bit of a change compared to the exact position that you captured at the beginning, because there is a little bit of a bug for which I am not really able to reproduce exactly the right position. So let's start playing with the objects. This is the most important card functionality to see, let's say, your entities going live inside your model. And let's start from the first type of object, that is the light object. So enter in edit mode, then click on edit. Okay, so you have now, let's say, to get how to say, inside the entities. So you add a new entity. You say, in this case, let's say the card has a certain number of entities, so I'm able to show all the entities in a list. Okay, but in some cases, when you have too many entities inside your house, let's say this list is too big, and so you will have to let's say enter the name of the entity by yourself, let's say manually. So let's select my light color, and then, let's say, once you have selected your entity, you have some new parameters appearing, so type and object. Okay, let's focus first on type and object parameters that are the important one, the mandatory one. So the 3D type. The 3D type is telling you what is the type of binding that you want to do inside the model, and this is a light type. Second point, also important, you need to tell the light to which object inside your model is being associated. So how do you do that? You just double click on the name of the object, on the shape of the object, and you will see the name appearing here. You just capture it with the copy, and you paste it here. Okay, so now you have your light entity associated to an object of type light, and the object name is here. So now you have to set a few parameters of the light itself, and first and foremost, the lumens, so the intensity of the light. That is a number that can go between 0 and 2000 or even more. And you can put the name, let's say the lumens value here, let's say in this parameter. For the moment, let's stay here. Let's save, and let's see how the light is rendered inside the model. So, I click here, and surprise, surprise, you see the light being shed on the now let's see how the light is being rendered inside the model. Okay, so you click on light, and surprise, surprise, you have your light here appearing in the model. Okay, so you may notice that the light without any further parameter is going through the walls. Okay, this is not a bug, but let's say it is possible to tell to the lights to cast a shadow, and let's see how do we do that. So you go first at the card level to activate the shadow functionality for the full card, and then let's say for the light where you want the shadow to be cast, you put yes, and you define what is the vertical alignment of the light inside the object, and this is to avoid that the lamp object itself, or the light object itself, is how to say, creating a shadow in itself on the scene. So in this case, as it is a ceiling lamp, we can put bottom, and we can see the result of this effect. Okay, so now let's say you see that the light is shading, is casting a shadow on the floor, and it is not going through the walls. Why say I have given this possibility to activate and deactivate this functionality? Because the more you have lights inside your model, the more you are consuming resources inside the 3D model. So there is a limitation that is known, you will see in my documentation, that depending on the power of your GPU, of your graphical card, you have more or less limitation related to the number of lights that you can activate with shadow. This is very, very resource intensive. And so basically, let's say I've given the possibility first to activate or not the functionality for the full card, and then once that I have activated for the full card, to say for each light if they have to cast shadow or not. Let's say. So if you have a small light, let's say that is not very, very intense, etc., and you don't want the perfect realistic effect, you can define it without casting the shadow, and the model will still be realistic. Now, I say another important feature, you can change the color of the light. Okay, and you will see that let's say the color is changed as well in the model. so it's a pretty good, nice functionality. Maybe let's say for giving even more impact on the effect, let's say what I will do is that I will increase a little bit the lumens of the light, let's say, so that you can see even better the effect of the color changing. Okay, you see here we have a sort of pink color, then I switch to blue and to green, and I can even increase the brightness, let's say. So that's it. Let's say for the light, this is the probably the best, but not the only functionality inside the card. You will see there are a few others, but for this tutorial we can stop here. Thank you, and don't forget to like the video and to subscribe.